Hello everybody. All right, let's try this again. I don't know what happened, but man, that was so zoomed in. You guys weren't going to be able to see anything or be right on top of everything. All right, there we go. All right, let's try this again. All right, wait a few minutes and see who gets in here. Just a few minutes late. So let's see. Tonight we're going to be using Springtime Joy, and this can be found in the mini catalog. And it is on page 22. Find it right there. It's a pretty good price point at $20. So, all right. So there's where we're at. Go ahead when you jump on. Tell me hello. Hello, Lynette, and where you're watching from. And welcome to anyone watching on the replay. All right. How's Lynette's week going? Did you have to work today? All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. And we'll see who else jumps on. All right. So let's start with our first card. We're going to start with a So Saffron card base, 5.5 by 8.5, just a standard card base. And we will score this. And then to this is a piece of the Taste of Good Designer Series paper. This is cut at 4 by 5.25. Oh, 5 days this week. That's a busy week, Lynette. Hello, Cynthia. How are you? All right. Abby just got here, so she might pop in. And let's see. So I'm going to go ahead with this because we're just going to prepare this now. I'm going to add some linen thread to this. Linen thread wrap, and I'm just going to wrap this around a few times. 2, 3. And then I'm going to snip this off here. Tighten that up a bit. Just want a little linen thread wrap here. All right, need my third hand. Take a pair of reverse tweezers and hold all that together so it'll stay nice and tight while I tie a bow. And then I can let that go. And then my bow stays nice and taut. I'm going to move this over to the very edge because that's where I want my bow. All right, and then we can set those two pieces aside. We're going to take a piece of basic white cardstock that is cut at 3 by 4 1/4. And we're going to grab some scratch paper. And this is just the mini grid sheet that fits in the Stamparatus. If you have an edge that's sticking up from where you cut it, if you just take your bone folder and press over the top of it, that will smooth those edges down. Okay, so we're going to start with some Granny Apple Green ink. Make sure I'm in the frame here for you. We're going to take our blending brushes. I'm going to ink that up with some Granny Apple Green. I'm going to rub off just the beginning of it. And then I'm going to put some green on the bottom. This piece. All right. That's good. Then I'm going to grab another blending brush. I'm going to take my balmy blue, put some ink on there, and then I'm going to ink up that sky. I just re-inked my balmy blue. That's a very pretty sky though. I like how that looks. Okay, now to clean these brushes, I'm just going to take my scratch paper. I'm going to rub that off. I'm going to get a microfiber cloth. And then I'm going to rub this on my Simply Chamois and on my microfiber cloth. I got a lot of ink on there, so I'm gonna just give that a good rub. And then when I take it back to my paper, I'll rub it till I get rid of that blue. Well, as you can tell, my blue is leaving my brush. It will stain. I won't get rid of all of it, but that won't hurt anything. As you can tell now, my brush is not adding any extra color. Okay? Hello, Abigail.
Hi. I waited in the front room for a little bit and I was saying, no, I'm not watching this. I'm going in the studio.
Okay, come on in.
Like, why would I ever watch stuff that Poppy just puts on and just leaves on?
Okay, well, I'm live, so.
Okay.
Okay? All right, tell everybody hello.
Hello.
All right, so next I've got
send the videos?
Got a couple of pieces of the Hey Birthday Chick dies that I've already cut the fences, and I cut these out of the Taste of In Good Taste Designer Series paper. And these are just going to go here.
Oopsies.
Like so. I'm going to bring back in this paper though so I can line those up. But before I put those on, I'm just going to kind of set these here before I adhere them. I'm going to get my Memento black ink. And I'm going to take the flower from Springtime Joy. I'm going to stamp one of those there.
These are so cute.
Stamp another one up here. And another one over there. All right. And then I'm going to take my Stampin' Blends. and get the Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to take the light and I'm going to color in my leaves. I'm going to do that rather quickly. I'm going to go back with the dark Granny Apple Green. And I'm just going to scribble along that detailed line that the artist put in. And then blend that out. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my light petal pink marker. And I'm going to go up to the flowers here. I'm going to color those in. I'm going to grab the dark petal pink. I'm just going to put a little bit of extra color in there.
What are you doing right now?
And I'm going to blend that out. Okay? All right. Now I can go ahead and add my fence in here. First, I've already stamped on a piece of basic white the lamb from Springtime Joy. This one right here. And I wanted to show you how I was going to color him. I'm going to take some of the light and dark petal pink again with the Granny Apple Green, and we're going to put in some light and dark So Saffron. So these are the colors that we're using. Hopefully you can see those. We're going to start with the light So Saffron. I'm going to color two of these flowers. Go back with the dark. All right, then I'm going to do the petal pink on the other two flowers, and I'm going to start with the light. And then go back to the dark. Then I'm going to do my Granny Apple Green on my leaves, starting with the light. And these are so tiny that it doesn't, there's no need to blend. And I'm basically just going to give a dot here for the detail of the leaf, just to give it a little texture. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little something with these blends. And hopefully, yep, I've got my alcohol marker handy. So I'm going to take my light gray granite and I'm going to take the brush tip. And I don't want to give this, I want to leave the lamb white, but I want to give it a little bit of a shadow. But I don't want my shadow to be too dark. So I'm going to put a little bit of gray granite on my block. Then I'm going to take my color lifter. And I'm going to go into that with the tip of my marker. And then I'm just going to dot around the flowers. This gives me a lot lighter shade of the gray granite. And will give us the illusion of a shadow. just going to go along these lines that the artist put in, just to add a little bit of texture. And I want to go around the very edge of my lamb to make him look more 3D. And by doing it this way, I don't get over-colored. And then I'm just going to clean my tip off. And then my block, I'm just going to take an alcohol wipe and wipe that off. Okay. So there's how I colored my little sheep. And I'm going to take some Wink of Stella. I'm going to put it on the flowers. Give them just a little bit of sparkle. All right. Now ahead of time I cut and colored the little chick from this stamp set just to save some time so I don't keep you guys for an hour and a half tonight. All right, so with the fence, I'm going to start my fence off the edge here. I want to put my, I'll lay this down. I'm going to run it along this line. And then I want to lay my, yep, I think that'll be good. All right. So I'm going to use my grid paper to line that fence up. Whoa. It's a lot of glue that came running out of there in that one spot. If you can see the glue, it's enough. Okay, so I'm going to start this piece of fence post halfway on the picket here. I'm going to lay it right down along that grid line. And then I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to grab my scissors. Actually, I'm just going to do this and then I'll cut it off afterward. Okay, and I'm going to, again, I'm going to line that up with the grid paper. Keep my fence post even. All right, then I'm going to take this and turn it over. And I'm going to give this a snip. And I'm going to give this side a snip so I don't have any hangover. All right, so there's what we have so far. Now we're going to take our little lamb. I'm going to put him here, and actually we covered up that entire flower, so let's see. Well, it's going to be okay. We're just going to use 2. I'll be good. All right, so now we need some Stampin' Dimensionals. So we want to pop up our lamb and our little chick. I'm going to go ahead and put him down here, just like so. And And I'm going to get my chick and I'm going to put one large dimensional, and I'm going to grab a little dimensional, a mini dimensional, and put it right down there so that he's fully supported. And then we're going to put this right here. Okay. Now we're going to take the Welcome Spring and we're going to get that memento plaque back out. I'm going to ink this up. Make sure it's good and inked. And then we're going to put this right in the upper right corner here. All right, now we're ready to assemble. So we're going to take our ribboned piece here. And we're going to want to move that up. So to move this up, once you got it tied, just bend your cardstock a little bit, and then that will allow it to move. Okay, I'm going to take some liquid glue. And I want to get pretty close to this. I'm going to go right over the top of my ribbon there so it doesn't keep moving. And I'm going to set this down and center it up. All right. And then I'm going to grab some more dimensionals. And I'm going to add them to the back of my focal image. And I'm going to add this in here. Abby, can you go get me a baby wipe, please?
Sure.
All right, and then I'm going to adjust my bow and snip off the ends. All right, now for the inside of this card, I took the stamp from Dress to Impress, and you could use any stamp that you have. That's just a swoosh of color, and I added it with the May the New Life of Spring Bring You Joy sentiment, which is also from Springtime Joy, with a little flower down in the corner. Thanks, sweetie.
You're welcome.
Got glue on my hand.
Got glue on Grandma's hand.
All right.
It's a pretty card.
We're just going to take and add this to the inside of our card. You could stamp right inside this So Saffron because it is so light, but I think it just looks really nice when you add a layer of weight. All right, so there's our first card. And here's the matching envelope. Let you look at that while I clean up a bit. You set that in that other Yep, and that one right there. Just set it in there, Abby, and I'll deal with it later. Please, thank you. Kind of nice having it a little assistant tonight. All right.
I like how you take ice cream cones, take the cone, and make it as an ice cream cone.
All right.
But if you flip it over, it makes a Mickey Mouse.
Okay, so our next project, let's move this out of the way. Set that up there for later. Okay. So this one will be a card base that starts with soft sea foam, standard card base. And that's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Set that aside. Actually, where's this card? Let's pull this card out here. And then to this, we're going to add a piece of the Forever Greenery Designer Series paper, and this is the pattern that we're going to use. And this paper is in the annual catalog, as is the In Good Taste Designer Series paper that we used on the last project. Okay, so we can go ahead and add this. We're not adding any ribbon or anything, so we're just going to add this to the front of our card. I love that already. I really love the Just Jade with the soft sea foam. Hello, Jennifer Isom. Welcome, welcome. Is anybody else? Have we missed anybody else? Let's just check. Nope, we're good. All right. So for our focal image, I have cut a piece of basic white with the second to the largest stitched rectangle die. And you can find those in the annual catalog as well. And we are going to take a square vellum doily. This is how they come. They come in a package of, let's just say how many, 20, you get 24 pieces. These are also in the annual catalog. If you want the item number is 152484. All right, so we're going to take this doily and we're going to use it as a mask. So I am going to put this on my card layer in a diamond, in the diagonal, in the diamond shape. And I'm going to use a piece of Post-it tape at the very top and at the very bottom so it doesn't move. I'm going to bring back in that scrap paper that we had. I'm going to switch it over here though, because if I put the green and the blue together, I'm going to end up with a mess. All right, so I want Just Jade for this one. And I'm using the same brush I did before. I'm just going to clean this off and make sure I don't have a bunch of the granny apple green. Just going to rub it here. And I'm going to bring it in on my microfiber cloth. Give that a good rub. And then I should have no ink coming back out. All right. So now I'm going to ink up my sponge. And I want this to be pretty light so I'm not taking a whole bunch of ink. And then I'm just going to rub this. And I'm trying to stay pretty much in the center of my doily, there's like a little circle in here within that square. And I'm just going to keep turning this around. I'm rubbing very gently. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to lift it up. I think I want a little bit more. Just going to smooth that down again. And right in the center, I want a little bit more color. Oops. All right, and I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to remove my mask. And I can reuse this again. I could put this on a project. You could just stick that on a project just like so. All right, so this is what we have then. Now to this, I'm going to grab those. Need the little flower, butterfly, and the other little tulip. And then we're going to get some Memento black ink. We're going to put one of these down here, like so, and another one over here. And then we're going to put our butterfly right up here. Okay. Okay, I thought I pre-cut those, but maybe not. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys, I thought I pre-cut them, but I guess I didn't. Either that or I've stuffed them in my stamp case. But we're going to grab some Whisper White. Just need some scraps. And I think that should do it. All right, we're going to get that Memento black. We're going to grab the little bunny rabbit. We're going to stamp him down. Then we're going to get our little chick.
I always figure out a way how to make these stand up.
And stamp our chick. All right, then we're going to go back to this and we're going to start coloring these first. Okay, for this one we have a lot of Stampin' Blends. I'm going to start with the butterfly. And we're going to be using these 3 colors on the butterfly. And then this one for his body. So light smoky slate on his body. I'm just going to dab along that because it's really, really thin. And if you don't just dab it, you'll go out of the lines. So we're going to start with the light Mango Melody. And I'm going to color the whole butterfly, missing the, trying to miss the holes, in the light Mango Melody. Then I'm going to go back with the dark Mango Melody, and in the center of his wings, I'm going to color those in. All right. Then I'm going to take the light Calypso Coral, and I'm just going to go at the tips of the wings. Then I'm going to go back with the dark. And I'm going to blend those two colors together. And then I'm going to go back with the mango or the light and blend that out for the final time. Okay. And then I'm going to take the light Calypso Coral and I'm going to color in those dots. And there's my little butterfly. Okay, we can set those aside for the moment. And then we're going to grab the light and dark daffodil. We're going to color the tulip. I'm going to color the whole tulip in light. And then I'm going to go and dab along the artist lines here where there would be a shadow from the petals. And then I'm just going to blend that out. All right. And that was the light and dark daffodil. Now I'm going to take the light and dark Rococo Rose. I'm going to color in the flower. And I'm going back with the dark. I'm just going to put a little bit of scribbles around the center of that. And then I'm going to just go over the top. And for the leaves, I'm using light and dark Just Jade and the light shaded spruce. I'm going to start with the light Just Jade. I'm going to fill in those leaves. And I'm going to go back with the dark and I'm going to flick up some color. And I'm going to take my light shaded spruce. And I'm just going to go along the artist lines. And then I'm going to take my light shaded spruce and blend that out. And I'm going to repeat the process with the other flower. Just going to flick, draw on the line, and blend with the light. Okay, now we can set this aside for a minute. We're going to bring in our bunny rabbit and our chicken, and we need the dark So Saffron for our chicken. We're going to color him in. Go back with the light Daffodil Delight. I'm just going to put a little bit of color in his wings, just to add a little bit of depth, a little bit just to make him look a little rounded. And then I'm going to go back and blend those out. And then I'm going to grab the dark Mango Melody and I'm going to add that to his beak and go around his feet here. All right, so now our chicken is done. I really thought I had these already colored and cut. Look in there and see if you can find them in there already done. Okay, and this one we're going to use the light and dark daffodil and the light and dark Rococo Rose with the Just Jade.
I looked inside of your other and
Okay. It's just bizarre. I was pretty sure I had them already done.
Well, you maybe didn't. You maybe lost them.
I was trying to be totally prepared and save a bunch of time. All right, these are so tiny that you can't do a lot. So we're just going to do a little dabbing. Take our light and dark Rococo Rose on this set of flowers. And then we're just going to dab around the center. And I'm not even going to blend those out because they're so tiny. And then I'm taking the light Just Jade for the leaves. And actually, I'm not even going to add the dark to that. All right, so my bunny, I did in light and dark crumb cake. So I'm going to color in my whole bunny. With the light crumb cake. Leave just a little bit there of white space. Actually, at this point, I'm going to switch to the larger end. I'm going to leave a little bit of his face white. Then I'm going to go down to the body. Okay, I'm going to go back with my dark crumb cake. And I'm just going to put a little bit of darker color here, a little bit of shadow. Put a little bit along the edges here, just to make his face look a little rounder. A little bit under his arms. And then I'm going to do sides here. All right, then I'm going to go back with the light and I'm going to blend that out. Just so I don't have any harsh lines. Okay, then to give him a little more depth, I'm going to go back with my color lifter. And I'm going to go right in the center of his tummy here. I'm going to run that color lifter along there. And I'm going to kind of blend in that face a little bit. All right. And then I'm going to go with the light petal pink. I'm going to add just a little bit of petal pink up here in his ears. A little bit on the cheek. And there's my little bunny. Then I'm going to add some Wink of Stella to the flowers. All right, and then we're going to fussy cut. Has anybody been doing crafting this week? Hello, Laura. Glad to see you could make it. We're just gonna cut this bunny right on out. And then we can get our little chick. And then we'll be ready to assemble our card.
What does LSOM spell? Because I can't figure it out.
LSOM. Where are you looking?
Right here.
That's Jennifer Isom.
So it's Isom.
Yeah, Isom. That's what that says. All right, everybody, let's get this almost done here. I'm cutting off these real tiny little black artist lines. I'm not quite sure what those are supposed to be. But they disappear when I cut them. All right. So we'll cut out our chick and then we'll be ready to go.
You're good at fussy cutting.
I've had a lot of practice at fussy cutting. Seems like I'm attracted to all the stamp sets that don't have dies.
At the end, can I show them my fussy cutting?
Yes.
Okay. So you only make 2 cards
No, I got another project to make.
after this?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, you have so much to do.
All right, this chickie is almost done.
I'll make it a blank piece of paper and start fussy cutting.
All right, there we go.
Your orange scissors.
Now we can go ahead and add this to our card base. Because this is all there is to this. So I'm just going to take and add this on with some Stampin' Seal. Put this in the center of our card. And then we're going to add these right in here with some dimensionals. And get our little bunny. Turn him over. I do not like these dimensionals that are cut all the way through where they shouldn't be. Okay, so let's add this right here. So we want to leave a little bit of this stencil showing. And again on the chick, we're going to take one large
Darn it.
and one mini. We're going to put him right next to our little bunny rabbit. And then ahead of time, I took some little pearls, and we're going to add those. And I colored the white pearls with my Stampin' Blends, and this is the dark Rococo Rose and the dark Daffodil Delight. And we're going to add those to the flowers up top of our bunny here, just to give it a little bit of bling. And then we're going to add one more to the center of our flower here. Love that you can color pearls with Stampin' Blends to match your card. Now, the final piece on the front of our card is we're going to put in Welcome Spring, and I've already pre-stamped that, and I cut it with the Simply Succulents dies, and it is this die right here. This stamp set this die set has 4 labels that you can use for whatever projects you would like. Oops. My magnets jumped off of there. Don't want to lose those. Okay. So again, we're going to take and pop this up. And we are going to use, where did that go? I'm going to use a piece of the foam sheets that we sell, foam adhesive sheets, and I just cut a piece to fit, and I'm going to add this to the back of my sentiment. Just going to pop that down there, and then peel off that backing. And then I can add that without putting on several dimensionals. I'm going to put that right along the bottom of our card. All right. So that's the front of that card. Then for the inside, I've already stamped it. I used the Happy Thoughts stamp set, and Stamp just wanted to send some happy thoughts your way. And again, I did the butterfly and the tulip and flower. So we're just going to add this to the inside of our card, and this is done on a stitch rectangle of the same size as the one on the front. So we're going to add that to our card. And our card is complete. And then here is the envelope. So I've got a chick, and then I put those 3 pieces there again. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. And we'll move on to our final project, which is the 3D project. Let me clean off these stamps real quick and get them out of my way. And let's see if I need to catch up on some comments. I'm going to refresh this. All right. Doesn't look like I've missed anything. Hope everyone's enjoying the cards. All right, let's move those out of the way. All right, here we go. Our final project tonight. I'm going to make a little treat box. We're going to start with a piece of So Saffron. We have a piece of the Flowers for Every Season Designer Series paper. You'll need some scraps of basic white. And then I've already pre-cut, stamped and pre-cut and colored my bunny. I've got a vellum circle that I cut from the stitched shapes, and that's the middle, the second one, I believe. And then I've also stamped, colored, and cut out an Easter basket, all from the Springtime Joy. So those are our pieces and parts. Okay. Well, let's not get my directions too far away. Okay, so we're going to start with a piece of So Saffron, which is cut at 6 by 5 1/4. We're going to put that on the Simply Scored tool, and we're going to score on the 6-inch side at 3/4 of an inch, 2 3/4, 3 1/2, and 5 1/2. Then we're going to rotate it clockwise, and on the 5 1/4 inch side we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch, 3 3/4 of an inch, and 4 1/2. Okay. Now you can do that on your Stampin' Trimmer, but I prefer the Simply Scored tool. It's just a lot quicker for me. And my scores are more accurate. Okay, so I'm just burnishing on all those score lines. And then I'm going to set that aside for a moment. I'm going to take my piece of Designer Series paper, and I need 2 pieces that are 2 7/8 and 2 pieces, or 2 7/8 by 1 7/8, and 2 pieces that are 2 7/8 by 5/8. So if your pattern is directional, you'll need to cut these pieces in the portrait orientation, which means that you want the 2 7/8 to be going up and down, and the 1 7/8 to be the other direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this first at 1 7/8 to save paper. Okay, so I'm going to cut that. Then I'm going to cut this at 2 7/8 and 2 7/8 again. And that'll give me my 2 pieces. And then these ones need to be at 7/8 of an inch. So I'm going to cut 7/8 of an inch. No, not 7/8, 5/8, sorry. 5/8. I don't know how many times I've done that incorrectly. So 5/8. If you don't know where that's at, it's the shorter mark past the 1/2 inch mark. So it's the longer mark that's between the 1/2 inch and the 3/4. And I'm going to cut this at 5/8. And then I need these to be 2 7/8. And I need 2 of them. Okay. And the last piece of Designer Series paper that we need, I have a scrap of. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, and it needs to be in the landscape orientation, which means this side needs to be 2 7/8 or 1 7/8. This is 1 7/8 by 5/8.
Maybe you did cut one out.
So we're going to go I believe this is already at 1 7/8. Yep. Well, no, it's just a hair too long. So let's 1 7/8, and then I need 5/8. I'll put this up here, and 5/8. And that is all the pieces of our DSP that we need. And I still have this larger piece for another project or to make another box. Okay, so now we're done with that. Gonna put this board away, and we can trim out our project. So this is the top of our box, and this is the bottom of our box. So you have two larger, two 3/4 inch scored sections up here and one down here. This is the bottom. So we're going to take it on the first score mark from the right. We're going to cut up that score mark, and then we're going to angle cut in on this tab. Okay. And then we're going to cut on all the rest of those score marks, and I'm cutting just cut to the right of this score mark and to the left of this score mark. Then I'm going to trim this out. I'm going to cut a little swatch there, a little V, and I'm going to do that because that's going to be my tab. And then I'm going to cut to the left of this score mark here, and I'm going to angle cut that and that one to make my tab. Okay, so now the bottom of our box is ready. So for the top of our box, we're going to turn this, and we're going to go up here to the second score mark from the left as we turn it, because this is now, I turned it so that the bottom is now on the top. And I'm going to cut all the way down this score mark to the left of the score. And then I'm going to take off this entire section right below that score mark. So I want to cut the score out for a nicer finish. Okay, that's all gone. So this is what we have so far. Then these are going to become our tabs. So again, we're going to cut to the right of the tab here and to the left of the tab here, and we're going to cut clear down to the second score mark. All right, and we're going to do that on both of those scores. Then I'm going to fold this center section in. Now that I've liberated it, I'm going to fold it in, and I'm going to go about an 1/8 of an inch below the score mark, and I'm going to cut off that tab, and I'm going to do the same over here. And then I'm going to miter those edges, angle cut them so that we have a nicer finish. And this is what our box should look like at this point. Okay, so that's where we're at. Now we're going to grab our corner rounder. You can use whatever corner rounder you have. I'm using a retired corner rounder, and I'm going to corner round these two corners. This is going to fold into our box and be the box closure. Now, if you see like I do, I see that I have just a little tiny bit of that score left there. I need to take that off so it'll fold into the box properly. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to add our designer series paper. So our two larger pieces are going to go here and here. And I am just going to grab some liquid adhesive for this. add those to our box. It's easier to add the designer series paper now, but if you forget and you don't add it until later, it can still be added. It's not a crisis. The first box I made, I did without putting the design. I did the designer series paper on last because I wanted to make sure that it was going to work. My box was going to work out. Needed to make sure my math added up correctly. Okay. I'll put this on this panel right over here. And then this is going to tuck down into the box. And this, I want to turn my paper so that my pattern is facing that direction. Okay, so it's going to be kind of opposite of what your other panel is. Okay, and then we're just going to add this to the top of the box right there. And there's all of our designer series paper added. All right, now we're ready to put our box together. But we have one more thing to do before we actually adhere it. Although if you have a 1/2-inch circle punch, it will probably work afterwards. If you're using a bigger one, it's not going to. I'm going to take my 1/2-inch circle punch and this, or 3/4 inch, actually this is retired too. But I'm going to use it anyway. Use what you have, and I'm going to just center this up as best as I can, looking to the score here and the score here. A little less than half, and I'm going to give that a punch so that I have a finger hole to open the box. Okay. Then I see I needed to trim this so that my tab is angled so it closes nicely into the box. And then I'm going to take a little bit of, you can use whatever you like. I'm going to use liquid glue. You need a good strong adhesive. And I'm just going to run it along there. And you want to get close to the score line, but not on the score line. And then I'm going to fold this at the second score line from the left, right there. I'm going to fold the first score line on the right, and these should line up perfectly. I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm going to give that a good press, and then I'm going to fold that over this way, press it again, and now my box is together. Okay, so this is going to be the front of my box. So I'm going to fold my side tabs in. This is the back. This is the front of my box, so I want to fold this in last. And then I'm going to fold this one. I'm going to put just a little bit of liquid glue on these little tabs. I'm going to fold in the back tab. And then I'm actually going to take some Stampin' Seal Plus because it's easier and quicker on the drawing. I don't have to hold it, and I'm going to fold that box bottom in. Then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to give that a good press. That burnishes all down. And now my box can be closed. Okay. All right. So what fits in this box, you ask? Well, I found these Kit Kat lemon crisps.
Those are gonna taste good.
And 2 of them will fit in this box perfectly. And I will tell you that those are delicious. All right, so let's go ahead and decorate our box. And we have most of those pieces done. So we're going to put our circle here, but before we do that, we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. And I'm going to take Easter blessings from Itty Bitty Greetings. And I'm going to stamp that in Memento on a piece of scrap. Piece of scrap. And then I'm going to take the classic label punch. This is a very useful tool. And I'm going to set this in here. And wait a minute, I want to do the blessing. So I'm going to put it a little bit more to, a little bit more to the front, to the left there on the Easter. I'm going to leave a little bit of extra room on the back. I'm going to center that up and I'm going to punch it. Okay. Then I'm going to take the Easter blessings that I just punched and I'm going to slide it back into my punch. And I'm going to line it back up. And I'm going to give it a punch, and now I have a pennant, a banner at the back. And then I'm going to take, and I'm just going to trim off that. I'm going to take my bone folder. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to give it just a little bit of curl on this end. Then I'm going to turn it back up, and I'm going to curl it a little bit in there. Then I'm going to add a mini dimensional. And I'm going to put that right in the center. And I put a little bit of liquid glue on this end and a little bit right there, not quite on the end of my pennant. Take off my release paper, and I'm going to put this down at the bottom of my box, just so that my pennants line up with my DSP. And now I'm ready to add the rest of my decorations. So I'm going to go ahead and put my Easter basket. And I'm just going to add this with liquid glue. And I'm doing it this way because with vellum, you can see through, if you put the liquid adhesive on there, or any other adhesive for that matter, you're going to be able to see through it. So we're going to put these things down first. And then we'll be able to add. Okay, now I've cut a couple of small dimensionals in half here, a couple of minis. I'm going to put one on each ear just to support those. I'm going to add that. Like so. And then I can take more dimensionals and I can pop them on the back of my circle where my decorations are on the front. And that way you won't be able to see the adhesive through the vellum. And we're just going to set that down there like so. And there is our treat package. Oh, wait a minute. We have one more thing to do. We have mini pearls to put on that as well. And I have already pre-colored those.
So that card that you made, and then that box.
Yep. All right. So let's grab our Take Your Pick tool. We'll take our little pearls that we've colored with our Stampin' Blends. And we'll add them to our bunny. And there you have it. All right. So those are our projects for tonight. Using the Springtime Joy. Do we got those in? Yep. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Comments? Thank you, everyone. So glad you could join me. If you're watching on the replay, thank you. All right, if you need to order any products, I will be sure to put the link in the description of this video. And there is a host code. It will also be put in the description of this video. So thank you, ladies, and we will see you again next Monday night at 7:45. And I hope everybody has a good week. Till next week. Bye-bye. Stay safe.
Look what I made. Made the table.